Hello dear friends, I'm glad to welcome everyone on Sotnik-TV channel. It's September 21st, 2019. It's 7:01 PM in Moscow. We're 1 minute late, but that's fine. There occurred a technical problem that I have fixed already. I'm glad to welcome everyone watching our channel, remaining loyal to it. I mean not our, but your channel, as we exist and work for you. Regardless of the monetization of ours led to self-sustainability that I declared several months ago, staying in Lithuania, it turned out too early, as we're staying under some serious attack. It's been around 10 days that our subscribers number remains 446,000 and doesn't move. The number is 446,000 sharp. That number remains for around 10 days already, not moving up or down, it just remains for good measure. They are attacking us hard, removing the most of monetization. So, dear advertisers, it's time for you to stand up and to finally email to prsotnik.tv@gmail.com. Start cooperating with our channel. Your support will make a benefit not just for you, but for all the viewers of the channel. Let's call it a mutually beneficial support, as we're not simply asking you to give us some money. And of course, to those ready to simply support Sotnik-TV channel from your hearts, please feel free to do so. Your support is always welcome and we're always thankful for that. That was what I had to say in the very beginning. And there's one more thing. As you might have noticed, the Sunday show Mira России turned to a brand new, improved, modern and more professional format. We will go for such a professional, modern format in all our shows. For what we can, we will try to do so. Tomorrow 8 PM, not 7 as before, Mira России show will come out. That is an overview of the Western press and how Russia is being discussed, as well as Kremlin and its inner and foreign policy. What the foreign mass media says abroad. That might be interesting for those not speaking foreign languages or not having time to look through the Western press. That is the show for them and for the rest of the viewers of our channel. You might have also noticed Skrepa Panorama show go out not on STV Live channel, but on Sotnik-TV. As I've already told, all the Russian language shows are to come out on Sotnik-TV. We will create some shows in English, based on those from the main channel, for STV Live as well. It's just English for now, as we have no time or resources for the rest of the languages. That is some great attempt from our side, and I hope we handle that challenge. The crew is really small and the entire budget is that tiny, let me tell you. The things are heavy for us, but we do our best. All thanks to you anyways. In addition to attacking us by removing monetization and views and likes and some of the comments, they even started removing some of my own comments, the comments of the owner of Sotnik-TV channel. Whoever does that, I don't know. Well, someone doesn't feel my comments are correct. Just deleting those. So when you write that I delete your comments, you should know that it wasn't me. We moderate the comments and delete some explicit or offensive ones, but when one expresses his point, and that gets deleted or doesn't get published, that isn't me, but Russian YouTube office, God bless its soul. Let me quote a part of the letter I have just received. During your last stream, you said that you were in search of suggestions of how to save the situation and asked to express our thoughts. That's what I'm about to do. I agree with your suggestions regarding a strike and that an alternative government needs to be created. It is impossible to create such government inside Russia, though. That needs to be formed in the West, being the government in exile, so that the democratic political forces of opposition, represented by such people as Garry Kasparov and Andrei Piantkovsky, could take responsibility establishing the government, selecting the experts from the economists that don't necessarily need to be Russians, and so on. To have a crew of people ready to lead the country when everything crumbles to avoid any chaos. Such government would rely on the support of the UN, the US and the EU, otherwise we won't make it. And after some transition period with that government by means of free democratic elections, the first full-value government of Russia could be elected. From that perspective, it's up to Garry Kasparov, being principled and smart person, realizing the entire complex of versatility of the situation in all its depth, including the historical side. He knows people in the West being supported by such opposition platforms as Free Russia Forum and the entire Western society. He is able to accomplish that. The problem of trust plays an important role here. The West got burned trusting Yeltsin, Putin and Medvedev. It doesn't wish to repeat the same mistake, and Garry Kasparov is the person well known and understood by the West. He won't be asked questions like "Who's Mr. Kasparov?" I know that you don't welcome such approach, being warlordism, but one way or another, someone will need to organize and to take responsibility. We won't do without a personality there. Such process would be destroyed mercilessly inside. So such structure can only be formed outside of the concentration camp. End of quote. He also wrote about diaspora's involvement and the Federal Security Service disbanding, as well as the Investigation Committee and the GRU and the Russian Guard and the Federal Prison Service and so on, along with the arresting the documents of those organizations. He wrote many paragraphs. He sure cares for ongoing events with system thinking developed. But here's what I can respond. No matter what road maps we draw, all will depend on the circumstances of Putinism collapse. I wish I could hope for the power of people's anger. I wish I could hope that no one goes to work one day, declaring a strike all over the country and refusing from going anywhere. I wish there were no strike breakers, or there were extremely few of those. Excuse me, but so far there's nothing but a mowing in the form of selfies and some slogans like "we're walking here", "we are the authority here", and "this is our city", comes from the society, and that's the fact. And that is the reason why Putinism collapse can only happen if Putin gets old and dies, which may take another 20 years. Or if a palace coup takes place. And that may happen due to the economical degrading and growing internal contradictions inside Kremlin. But here's the third option that we have pointed out as well. There is a large-scale man-made disaster in Moscow, namely in Moscow, followed by the entire country tending for the capital, torn apart. As that would be it. The Babylon would be over. There would be no more purpose, and everyone would run away from that Babylon whore. The federal power would lay on the ground not required by anyone, and the local chiefs would concentrate the power in regions in their hands, starting internecine wars. They would gather criminals and thugs in their armies, providing the only way to raise some money, as there won't be no other jobs. That would be some distemper, a scenario called thrill and hardcore. The West would get dumbfounded, as it missed the moment. And then that nuclear dump with chemical, bacteriological and nuclear weapons would lose control and start moving, a hurricane would occur above that dump. And no one would understand how far across the planet all that terrible dump products get spread by that hurricane. The rockets with the warheads, the damn barrels of sarin, and simply the nuclear clouds. And for now, some unnoticed catastrophes occur all over the place. As Putin likes to put it, easy, easy. Here's another letter. My name is... Let me not sound that just in case. I live in the city of Cheboksary in the Republic of Chuvashia. You said that a catastrophe would start, and we have faced such a disaster. A mercury leak occurred at one of the factories of Cheboksary due to its age. At the same time, the city administration doesn't notice any problems and doesn't know what to spend money for. End of quote. There was also a link to a video of the leak of several kilograms of mercury as a result of the factory equipment being dilapidated. So they gathered the personnel and told them that once they received the salary, they had to obey their duties, putting on some regular gloves and picking up those mercury balls. They collected 15 kilograms and sent that to a household dump yard, just some regular dump where all the regular garbage goes. And that was it. Just some mercury mixed with some grout and bags. Where did all the remaining mercury go? They sent me a video filmed on September 5th, with a bunch of mercury balls just lying, and no one cares about it. There are 2 workers who collected all that, and have now been sick for 2 weeks already. Their respiratory tracts are inflamed, they have pneumonia, and those medics in Cheboksary are the true patriots, not ready to connect that disease to the mercury leak. They say they don't have the required equipment or technology to make the tests and to prove anything. What a good reason for such a great state the whole world is scared of, that can destroy anyone being that mighty. Getting back to the question of how Putinism will end up. Giving it some logical thought, personally I believe that the regime will be ended by some tremendous man-made catastrophe. The one that will make it impossible to live in 5 or 6 or even 700 or even 1,000 kilometers radius from Moscow. There will be an exclusion zone, just like in Chernobyl, multiplied by 20 or 30 times. And such national Chernobyl already exists in Moscow. That only remains to be blown up. And I'm sure that those won't be the enemies to blow it up. Not by NATO or by saboteurs, that will be blown up by the Putinists themselves, as Putinists are incompetent, greedy and self-righteous. They are worse than any saboteurs. Thank you for watching that video to the end. That stream wasn't easy for me. The news is very unpleasant, with lots of unpleasant conclusions following that news. Nevertheless, you need to know that, just to avoid mistakes, to make the right conclusions, and what's even more important, to look the right direction, and to build a correct graph based on the points we have indicated. Take care of yourselves, of your hearts and souls, and stay out of the very hell that hasn't even come yet. That still seems far, but maybe closer than we think. But for now, stay out. The machine is working really efficiently. That will crush you and won't even notice that. And the help of the most active and the smartest ones, those realizing the ongoing events, will be required in the very critical moment to give that system a push. Your time will come then, and for now take care. Watch Sotnik-TV and I will try to keep a close eye on what's going on. I wish you all the best and meet you in 1 week.